All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. We'll ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then a moment of silence for all those serving, protecting us around the world. So,
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you. Ms. Bain, if you would do the roll call, please.
Mayor Velardo,
Here.
Vice Mayor Parrish,
Present.
Mr. Price,
Here.
Ms. Russell,
Here.
Mr. Brown,
Here.
Ms. Barney.
Here.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna, if you guys would allow, we're gonna go through, just so everyone knows, we are interviewing for opening council. We did not get all the way through that, so we're gonna start with our presentation. We'll do a quick proclamation, and then go through the proceedings, and then we will adjourn for a short executive session to continue our interviews. And then all the candidates who are here tonight, we're going to ask them to come back up to the podium, give a short 1 minute or so recap as an introduction to anyone in the audience. So with that, I believe we have a presentation from Senior Services. Maybe? All right. I believe we have a proclamation. Do we have a proclamation from our proclaiming, do I have that up here?
In the blue.
In the blue, oh, I'm sorry.
So much better.
Oh, here we go. All right. I thought it was in the other stack. All right. So this is our official proclamation. Whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day set aside for planting trees. This holiday is called Arbor Day. It was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can be a solution for combating climate change by reducing the erosion of precious topsoil by wind, water, cutting heating and cooling cost, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable source, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in the city increase property value, enhance economic vitality of business areas, and the beautification of our community. And whereas trees, whenever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now for I, Ralph Velardo Jr., Mayor of the City of Milford, do hereby proclaim that Friday, April 24th, 2026 is Arbor Day in the City of Milford, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees, woodlands, and further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this for future generations. Dated today, April 21st, 2026. So with that, so go out and plant your trees. Just please don't do them in the right of way. So yeah. Proceedings, can we have a motion to approve the council proceedings of the April 7th?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I would then make a motion pursuant to Section 3.051 of the Milford City Charter to enter into executive session for the sole purpose to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual, unless that public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual requests a public hearing. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
All right, we will have one more interview, and then we will rejoin the meeting as soon as possible. Mic's on. All right, first of all, thank you for your patience here tonight. We threw a curveball when we had an opening, and we did our due diligence, and we're just overwhelmed in a positive way by the outpouring of community who stepped up to take the time to interview. And so I thank each and every candidate for coming out. We are going to deviate just slightly from the fact that we would like, in the order that we interviewed those candidates, to come up and give a short 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, whatever, synopsis of who you are and introduce yourself to the public and why you are going to serve or want to serve. So I asked, I believe, the first one, Janet Cooper.
As many of you know, I was on council for 4 years, a brief short term before that. I did run in the fall, I did not get reelected. I do like to serve my city, and I think it's.
You got one job.
Come on,
Thank you.
Thank you.
should I start over, Brady?
Yeah. Actually, do you mind so that the public and all that, so we'll
Yeah.
get a good, yeah.
My name is Janet Cooper. I was on council until December of 25, a 4-year term, a short term before that. I did run in the election and did not get reelected. I do want to serve my city, and I think it's an important thing to do, and I hope I would bring all the things I learned in the time on council back, and help us keep moving it in the right direction.
Thank you. All right, Chelsea Miller.
My name is Chelsea Miller. I'm a lifelong resident of Milford, with the exception of military service. I moved my family back here in 2010 because I wanted my children to graduate from Milford high schools like I did and all of my family before me from the 60s on up. I am really excited about the growth in Milford. It does not look the same as it did when I was growing up. You guys, it's changed a lot, and it's kind of exciting seeing so many fresh young faces here. I want to be a part of the forward movement with Milford, and I'm just very honored to be here.
Thank you. And Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah Weethy.
I've lived here off and on for about 10 years. The past 2 years, I've chosen to really root down here. I'm passionate about community. I'm passionate about people. I'm passionate about connecting people. And it would be an honor to serve you and be a voice for this community.
Thank you. And then Karen?
Hi, my name is Karen Messer-Burgoyne. I've been very impressed with the work that's been done to develop Milford into a vibrant destination and wonderful place to live. Having grown up here and graduated from Milford High School, I have a strong personal connection to the community and to the greater appreciation for what makes it special. At this stage of my career, I see an opportunity to give back in a meaningful way, and Milford is entering into this next exciting phase of growth, and I believe that my background in finance and real estate and higher education allows me to contribute thoughtful, practical perspective as the city continues to evolve. So I would genuinely value the opportunity to serve and help ensure Milford's continued success while preserving the character that makes it unique. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Steve?
Hi, everyone. My name is Steve Myers.
You need to address us, please.
Thank you.
Yes,
Sorry.
okay, thank you, yeah. They'll see you, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I got it. Okay, my name's Steve Myers. I grew up in Milford, Ohio. I've lived here 65 years. I've seen a ton of changes occur during that time. My family were builders. My grandfather, when he got back from World War I, his crew was the third crew hired to help build Marymount. So I can go through the eastern side of town and see customized homes, small commercials, and churches. My dad built a church in Fairfax. My mom and dad were the first ones married there. They moved out here. They rehabbed an old farmhouse, and that's where I grew up, going to Milford South. My brother graduated in '62 at the old Milford, Maine, the last year. I was in kindergarten, but I saw all these changes over the years. Now, if I were elected to town council, my mission would be to preserve a precious past, perform proudly in the precious present, and face a fine future. These folks, and anybody that's on this council, are going to be overwhelmed by the speed of the changes that are taking place, but there are ways of handling that. I worked for General Motors 10 years, I worked for GE 10 years. And we use total quality management, Kempner Trago, to balance out where do you get the most bang for your energy and your resources. That's what you got to look at when you're faced with so much. And I didn't mention that in our interview either, but Kempner Trago is very important, as well as, double listing techniques. So if you've got competing interest, you deal with that. I also was involved in conflict resolution. I negotiated contracts, union contracts, at both GE and GM. I also settled a lot of grievances and know how to handle people. So I would give people a good listening to, and then I would go back and do my homework. If I didn't have a quick answer for them, I'd tell them I'd get an answer, and then I'd get back to them. And that's what I'm thinking. I've always been a leader. I've always been a team player, and now I still do some consulting work, but this would be a nice situation for me to bring some leadership to make my hometown better, continuous improvement. I'm going to be buried here in Greenlawn Cemetery, and I want this town to do well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, again, I thank all those who applied. Now, we asked one question, and they all said that they're going to stay involved, they're going to run for council, they're going to do all that. So regardless of the outcome here tonight, I believe this is not the last we will hear from all these fine candidates. I'm going to turn this over to our law director real quick. I'm going to put you on the spot. And just because of our charter and our ordinance, by charter, we have to do this exponentially, so I'm going to turn this over and kind of just recap what it says in our charter and why we, are going through it the way we are.
So under section 3.07 of the charter, that's a vacancy was created because of resignation, so then it is filled by section 3.09. Council has 30 days from the date of the vacancy by a vote of majority of the council members. So that's just simply a vote by a majority. Whichever candidate gets a majority then takes over and fills out the remaining seat, which I believe will be up again in November of 2027, correct? Yeah. So that's what this term is up for. Again, it's just a simple vote of the majority of council. If that's not done within 30 days, then by charter, the mayor then fills the appointment. So the expedition that you're talking about is if it's not done within 30 days, then you do it.
All right. So with that, do we have any council discussion?
I just want to kind of reiterate, you know, Mayor, you mentioned everybody pledged to kind of stay involved and potentially run in the future. I was absolutely thrilled to see how many people put in for this. A lot of times we're speaking to an empty chamber, so a lot of times it feels like we don't have a lot of community buy-in. I think this really proves the opposite. So very, very encouraging, especially for the future of the city. I would encourage everybody who put in tonight to stay involved, run for an open seat when it comes up, pay attention to what's going on, come to council meetings, let us know what your thoughts are, just stay involved with this great community. It's really, really rewarding, if not enjoyable all the time, wrong word, but fun all the time. It's at least rewarding, right? So I would just encourage everybody to do that. I mean, personally, I'd be ready to nominate someone if council doesn't have
I
any
just want to ask if
additional
anyone has
questions.
anything else. Any other comments from council?
I want to thank everyone for coming tonight and expressing your interest. I'm a new guy in town. I just moved here a little over a year ago, and I met with the city manager when I came to town and asked him, how could I get involved and have an impact? And he said, run for city council. So I did. I got elected, so I'm glad I did. So thank you for coming.
And I just want to say it's encouraging. I've been on council in the past. This is my third time on, and I'm just encouraged by the interest that has come up. And I think that they see all the good things that this city is doing and how much, you know, it has progressed in the way that it has. And I just want everybody to continue to be involved.
And there's a lot of good expertise out there.
Absolutely.
Can't we have them all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vice Mayor?
I personally would put forth Janet Cooper as my nominee.
I will gladly second that.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Ms. Barney?
Oh, this is hard, but I feel like Janet was the voter's choice. I'm saying yes. She got votes.
Motion carried. I'll have the law director, we will have a swearing in. And we will seat our newest council member. And again, thank you all who came out. We appreciate the time you took, and we look forward to working with all of you.
I, Janet Cooper,
Promise and swear
promise and swear
to support the Constitution of the United States
to support the Constitution of the United States
of America,
of America,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Charter of the City of Milford,
and the Charter of the City of Milford,
and to faithfully,
honestly,
and impartially
discharge the duties of
City Council member
City Council member
to the best of my abilities,
to the best of my abilities.
so help me God.
Help me God.
Janet a second to take her seat. All right. With that, we will move on to we need a motion that we receive the March 26, or March 2026 finance report.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that moves us right into the city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. Provided in council's packets is the city manager report. I wanted to highlight a few things. The 5 Points irrigation project, the construction was completed last week. We are waiting for a final inspection for the backflow valve that should hopefully take place this week, and then we'll start the regular irrigation starting May 1st. Several people, I believe at this point, has noticed several workers up at the Wallace Avenue Water Tower. We are making some good strides on that. They're currently working on more of the internal components. And then starting in July, we'll start to see some of the larger, the ball, the base, some of the larger components delivered. At that point, we will expect several road closures, but that won't be until July. I wanted to throw that out there. The downtown parking study is underway. I wanted to make sure everyone knew that this is something that we're taking seriously. Will take several months to complete, to compile, analyze, and then provide recommendations to City Council. So once that is completed, we'll bring that to Council for further discussion. Staff is currently reviewing property insurance quotes that will expire in May of this year. And that is, after review, we will bring that to Council at the May 19th meeting. And then lastly, a friendly reminder that on Thursday we have the FC Cincinnati mini pitch ribbon cutting. That starts at 6 p.m. here at 5 Points. We'll do the Bailey March down to the mini pitch itself, and then we'll conduct the ribbon cutting from there. We're expecting a great turnout and look forward to seeing everyone there. That's all I have unless there's any questions.
And the weather is supposed to be fantastic Wednesday,
Yes.
or Thursday.
That starts at 6 p.m.?
Starts at 6 p.m.
At
yes.
5 Points.
Yep, and
Perfect.
we've
And
got
then roughly 6:30, I believe, anyone who can't make the march, at 6:30, if they don't want to do the march, we will be roughly, I believe, is the time frame.
correct. And for parking, we've got in and around Riverside 2, as well as the old U-Haul building. The business that moved in there is offering parking spots at their back lot. So if you run out of parking on the street, that is another option. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. Regarding this study, you're referencing that several months. Can we clarify that as to when it will be completed?
I can't. I would expect probably within the next 60 to 90 days, but I don't have a definitive deadline. The goal is observing the parking over a course of several periods. Obviously, we're heading into some of the warmer months, which is typically when more traffic is within the downtown. We certainly have a consistent traffic throughout the year, and that's one of the great things about our city, but that's why it's taking some time. It's not that it necessarily takes that time, we just want to observe it in different periods.
No, I think it's great that we are observing different periods. I just wanted to emphasize the need to get a decision made in a timely manner, so that once they've completed the study, that they can actually come back and tell us the recommendation.
Certainly.
Okay.
And I'll keep council in the loop on that.
Thank you.
Without further ado, Chief Mills.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I don't have a whole lot for you tonight. I will say Mr. Gunderson and I spent the better part of today interviewing the top 5 candidates for an anticipated vacancy in the police department, and had some really great candidates. We're very pleased with the quality of the candidates. The only other news I want to report, and you may have already seen it on Facebook, is IPM, a local food pantry, has donated backpacks of basics for our officers to deliver to people that are experiencing homelessness in the community. Since then, another organization, and I apologize, I don't have that information handy, dropped off some sleeping bags. So we're always cognizant of how dangerous it is and how hard it is to be homeless. So just wanted to put that out there.
Any questions
all I have.
for Chief? All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
And standing in of the esteemed Chief Miller.
Good evening. Also, don't have a whole lot. Milford Community Fire Department has been busy with training. We're currently doing a fire inspector class for several members of community fire departments near us, as well as one member of our own. Also doing an EMS basic refresher class being taught by internal instructors. If you happen to see a green ambulance driving around, it is us inside of it. One of our ambulances is being worked on. Goshen was kind enough to let us borrow one of their units. It is the wrong color, but it still works.
If it sits outside long enough, does it eventually turn
We've been
red?
trying to let it sit outside. We've been putting water on it. It's just not ripening up yet. Then I also wanted to acknowledge our young people here. National Honor Society, is that right? Is that everybody? Is there a GPA requirement for that? I never made it, so I don't.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming. That's really important.
Yeah.
Our Lieutenant Woodruff put together something. We have a cadet program also made up of young people that do have to keep a certain GPA level, not as high as Honor Society, but it's interesting to note, he did some research in it. 55% of Milford Community Fire Department staff started as a cadet. So over half of our department started at the age of 14. 48% of our staff started as a cadet with Milford. 100% of the chief command staff officers started as cadets. 88% of our officers, which are lieutenant and higher, started as cadets. The other good number in there, they're all good numbers, but 71% of the members were directly influenced by a member of another fire department. So
I got my start right here in the wonderful city of Milford, so I can attest to the importance of that organization, and that certainly sets that great foundation. Thank you, Chief. We're going to digress. I did not realize the national. I'm going to ask one spokesperson. I'm going to put you on the spot since you're from the national. Whoever the head of your group is, or I need one spokesperson to come up, and I would like you to give us a quick synopsis of, hey, why you're here tonight, and what it takes to be a member of the National Honor Society. So this is, you are our future leaders. You are our future leaders. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 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 All right. Please state your name, and I assume you're a senior.
Yes, sir. My name is Aspen McLugan. I'm from Milford, and I currently go to Live Oaks as well.
Okay.
National Honor Society is. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
The GPA requirement for that is, I believe, a 3.7, if I'm correct. 7.5. And it is basically to recognize the leaders and the potential leaders in our community and in our classes. It's where we get out in the community and help people, and we attend government meetings to get more involved and see what's actually happening. So some of us can hopefully be one day up where you all are, or be leaders in our community in fire stations, military, or our jobs and everything. It helps us to get out there and find interest and take action and initiative too.
All right. And I'm going to embarrass him one more time. Would all the members of the National Honor say, please stand up? And I think we ought to give them a big round of applause. Thank you all, and you did a great job at public speaking, so keep it up.
Thank you for not using the word "like" a million times.
Yes. So we appreciate you being here tonight, and we acknowledge all the sacrifice it takes to be a member of that incredible organization. Again, to Chief Miller, but I was not one of those people, so I appreciate all of your hard work and dedication, so thank you. With that being said, let's go to council comments. Any council comments? We have some appointments and that we need to make, and I'm just going to put our newest member on the spot and ask if our new colleague Janet Cooper would be willing to serve as a member of the BZA. I know you've done that before, and I need you to. And if so, I would like to appoint Janet to that. The Personnel Commission is the other open spot. Is there anyone who would like to serve on that? I should have asked this ahead of time. That meets pretty irregular, if I'm, Yeah, like once or twice a year, maybe. So, those were all, Sandy, okay. So, and then, though we don't do the regular committee meeting, we would like to appoint Janet to the Administrative Services Committee. And so I would like to make a motion in the form of all that. So Janet Cooper to the BZA and Administrative Services, and Sandy Russell to the Personnel Commission.
Second.
Can we go ahead and get a roll call on that?
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
All right. And then we also have, we talked about this when we, committee, about having backup community members. We have an interested person. Do we have his resume, or is he here tonight?
No, but he is here.
Okay.
To put him on the spot if.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Eric, are you, step up to the podium and tell us why you want to be part of our planning commission, please.
Good afternoon, Eric Bernheimer, 209 Erie Lane. My wife and I have been in, can you hear me all right here?
Yes.
We've been in Milford only about just under 2 years. And at each of the other communities that we've lived in, we've always been active in some way. I've been active in HOAs, youth sports, coordinating holiday activities, and now that we're here in Milford, oh, it wasn't on?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know, might be dead.
Okay.
Try your best.
So
Needs to
I
happen.
want to get active in the community, doing something. And in meeting with Mr. Gunderson a few weeks back, he mentioned a possible alternate position with Planning Commission. My business background was construction and building materials. But what I had to do is, in a 6-7 state area, be active in tracing community health. What communities were growing, which weren't, where would the building opportunities lie, and coordinate with developers, contractors, building owners, property managers, and more, and just track where the activity was, where the opportunities were. So I haven't been directly involved in community planning, but I had to be aware of what was going on in all of these communities. So it felt like it was a good fit for me, and hopefully it's a good fit for you folks.
All right. So just so everyone knows, in order that we maintain a full body for both planning and BZA, we are asking for alternates to have those on so that they can step in and attend meetings, so we always have a full quorum. That from time to time, we have council backup, and now we'll have a citizen backup too. So that's what this position would be strictly for an alternate if someone could not make a meeting.
Do we currently have any other alternates, just out of curiosity?
No, not yet. For council, we do. We did that last time. We have all council, so we do not have any, and the idea would be to have at least one for each.
When you just said council alternate, I just want to make sure we're very clear. For
The BZA and
And
planning.
planning commission,
Yes, yeah,
yes,
not
okay.
for our jobs, but
Yeah,
yes,
just wanted to
the
make sure.
council alternate, so each, in the case of BZA, Janet, and then Mike would be the alternate. In planning commission, Brad is the member, and I'm the alternate, so just to make sure that we can always have a full quorum. All right. Would anyone entertain a motion? If not, I
Sure.
will.
I would make a motion to appoint Eric, Mr. Bernheimer as the planning commission alternate.
Second.
Quadruple second.
Can we get a roll call on that one?
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Yes. Do we need to swear him in?
We can do it before a meeting.
Okay, all right. You get swore out here, but we're gonna do that later on, so, all right. So welcome and thank you. Thank you for serving. So with that, we're going to go into our committee as a whole meeting. So,
I would make a motion for us to enter into the committee of the whole.
all right,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. So we're going to call the committee as a whole meeting to order at this time, 8 something or another, whatever time it is. I believe it's 8:17 by my watch or so. Call to order. Can we have a roll call, please, Jackie?
Mr. Parrish?
Here.
Mr. Velardo?
Here.
Mr. Price?
Here.
Ms. Cooper?
Here.
Ms. Barney?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Ms. Russell?
Here.
All right. City Manager, I'll turn this over to you for the time being.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First on the agenda is an ordinance amending the appropriation ordinances previously passed. This is a very straightforward ordinance. With this, I would like to tack on the State Route 28, SR 28 at the end of the agenda. What we have encountered this year is already is we had crippling infrastructure along State Route 28 related to the sewer infrastructure. That's why the road was shut down. That's why we made the replacements. After further scoping of the pipe, it was determined that there's a far greater need to replace pipe to line pipe within that area for both sewer and water. We've got some parts of State Route 28. They're smaller parts, but we still have some parts that literally don't have a pipe. It's a hole in the ground from where the pipe used to be. Obviously, that's a concern. That's why there's pavement issues along State Route 28 as they're starting to slump down because that pipe is no longer there. So what we did internally is we came up with what footage is able to be lined. It's a clay pipe. It's about 1,300 feet is able to be lined. We applied for this through the OPWC funding last year and did not receive any funding. And then there's about 2,300 feet of pipe that needs to be entirely replaced. So my recommendation to council is we split this up into 2 phases. Phase 1 is to replace the currently crippling pipe. That's about 2,300 feet. We'd send this out to bid, and we would have requests for proposals to complete that project. Phase 2 would be the lining of the pipe. That's about 1,300 feet. There's 1,300 feet worth of clay pipe that still exists along State Route 28. We believe we can get a minimum of 1 year up to probably 3 years now. That's not guaranteed, but we still have a little bit of life in those. And then at the end of this year, we would apply for funding to offset that cost. So if we're looking at the total cost to replace the pipe based off of the price that we paid here recently, we're looking at about $1 million to replace that pipe. Now, we'll be able to send this out to bid and hopefully get a more competitive number with that. So flipping back to the appropriation change, you'll see $1 million in capital outlay under the sewer revenue fund. That is to complete that needed work. Now, if the bid comes in at $800,000, we simply transfer $800,000 of sewer out of the general fund, and the remaining $200,000 just stays in the general fund. Where we're getting this money is the city had a unexpected revenue source from the marijuana money. We have been able to collect a host fee for the last 2 years. However, we've been able to now get the state funding, and we didn't realize that we were going to get the influx or the amount that we're going to get. We expect probably around $1 million in marijuana funds. So that's where we're getting this money. This isn't budgeted. We're not taking out of the reserve balance or the reserve balance of the general fund. This is simply money that we're getting out of the marijuana to put towards this. So I wanted to be able to walk through that in conjunction with each other. The other thing that I wanted to bring up related to State Route 20 is the water pipe is also in bad shape. We've been patching it for years. There's patches all up and down that pipe. If we're going to do it right from the start, then we do the water and the sewer simultaneously because we're already digging a trench and they run parallel to each other. Other than some pipe that we replaced last year, the sewer and water, they're not necessarily stacked, but they, to put it simply, they're stacked. There's about a 4 or 5 foot difference, not consistently, but that's sort of the average distance. We kicked out some of the pipe last year due to some of the issues. on State Route 28. So I want to be able to discuss that with council. We've got CDBG funds that are due May 5th, and then we have OPWC due at the end of the year. Once again, there's some of the sewer pipe that simply cannot wait till the end of the year. If we get OPWC funding this year, we really don't have access to it until next year. If we're already digging it up to replace that sewer, in my personal and humble opinion, although it's going to be another $1 million likely, it makes sense due to that water. It's obviously a main corridor for us. It's a nuisance when we have it shut down for traffic. And if we can get this knocked out as much as possible on a one-time deal, that would be awesome. The sewer lining itself doesn't require us to dig a trench. We simply go in the manholes and send the liner up the pipe, so it won't affect the roadway when we complete phase 2. So I know I'm going back and forth between the two, State Route 28 and the appropriation change. Back to the appropriation change, we have the only other big number is the land acquisition cost. That was for fountain specialists. Council approved the purchase. This is simply an accounting thing, so that way we can record the revenue and the expense within the budget.
And it's an unfortunate thing, but I think previous administrations and probably have kind of kicked this down the can, or kicked it down the road, and we've paid for it dearly because, to his point, I'm pretty sure there's 8 or 10 patches on that water line right now. Anyone who lived through our last, where we ended up with a small break, and then as soon as we dug it up, we realized how deteriorated it was. So it's an unfortunate thing, but it's one of those things that I truly think if we are going to have a strong, viable infrastructure, that we have to sometimes make these very expensive, tough choices.
And to bring a little bit more narrative to it, last year we had to replace water and sewer. That was over $300,000. This year we replaced the sewer, and that was a little over $100,000. So each manhole, it's not the same, but you can guess it's somewhere between 200 and 300 feet between the manholes. Some of them are much shorter, but that's an average. So if you do the math on that, we're well over that $1 million if we piecemeal it beyond the traffic nuisances, and there's just additional costs. If we can do it as one project and bid it out, then we're more likely to get a competitive rate.
And where are we saying the money for the water pipe will come from?
So the water pipe, that will have to come from the general fund if we're going to do it now.
And it's there?
We have it within the reserve balance. We don't have it built into the budget as if we were planning on it.
Okay.
So you're guesstimating $1 million just for sewer and then additional for the water, right?
Yeah. Okay. Using the numbers that we have at our disposal, we think it'll be roughly $2 million for both. And that's, once again, just State Route 28.
It's hard, but without a solid, no pun intended, working infrastructure, we can't, we're gonna end up paying twice that, if not more than that, 6 months from now, 9 months from now. And one of the things that we've done over the years is we've been very proactive, and obviously this will be a budget for next year that will talk about continuing this, being much more proactive as opposed to reactive. So it's a hard pill to swallow. It's hard. We are fortunate to get unexpected surplus, though we would have hoped that we could have used that for something a little more exciting than sewer, but so. But at least it's less of a burden and less of a hit on our finances.
Are we hoping we might be able to get some of that state funding next year?
Yes, related to the sewer.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because we didn't get it this year, right?
Correct. Yeah, we just didn't score high enough.
Yeah,
2 years ago we would have scored very high. Last year there's just a lot of competitive numbers out there. That sewer lining is probably going to be another $300,000 for just the lining. So that would be something that we could offset. The game with OPWC is if the local match needs to be 51% to maximize the scoring.
Okay.
So we could get about 49% of that, offset it through a grant would be ideal. So that's something that, would remove a little bit of money there. Unfortunately, it's not going to cover the construction or the replacement, but it's
The
at least,
lining.
we're trying to find alternative funding to pay for some of these costs.
I would go ahead and recommend that the law director draft an ordinance amending appropriation ordinances 2025-415, 26-423, and 26-439 in the amounts laid out on the attached chart.
Second.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to the section related to the splash pad. We discussed this, I believe, last meeting or 2 meetings ago, the need to replace a splash pad. There's several issues with the splash pad related to the surface itself. It's an improper surface that was used on the site. A lot of people, a lot of people have fell on the splash pad itself. I understand it's water, but it's not a proper surface. So what we did is we had 2 quotes for this. The first one is Hardig. They're the ones that actually installed the existing surface. If you look at the quote provided by them, it replaces the concrete that is currently in disrepair, specifically around the drains, as well as replacing the painting and the surface itself. That's roughly $38,000. The second one is provided by Centrix. That one is $33,000, almost $34,000. I want to draw out a few distinctions here. Centrix is built off of one color. In order to get 3 colors, that is $60,000, so it doubles. Hardig is $38,000 for 3 colors. The surface itself, that Centrix one, is a little bit more cushiony. So it is a different surface, as well as it comes with a 10-year warranty where the other one doesn't. Hardig, they've committed to completing this by Memorial Day, which is when we open up the splash pad. Centrix are still waiting for confirmation on that, when they can get that completed, so that there is a few differences. But I wanted to ensure that we had both of these before council. They're somewhat similar in price, but there's a difference between the surface itself as well as the colors. Now, if council doesn't care about the color, in terms of having 3 colors, Centrix I think is a very competitive one, especially with the warranty that is provided. If council wants to model what is there currently with the 2 colors, that is something that Centrix is not competitive with, as it doubles. It goes to $60,000, and Hardig is still at $30,000.
But they're the ones who put the wrong surface down.
Well, yeah, was it an improper surface or a malfunctioning surface?
I think it was
Was it a
more of
selection
administrative,
council at the
time? choice.
allowing the wrong surface to be
Okay,
put down.
okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
Right.
I hate to speak on something I wasn't
Oh,
part
I'll
of,
see,
but
that person didn't do their job.
Okay, what I'm saying
Yeah.
is it's not on the company.
they, the communication I've received has stated that they've made it very clear that that was the wrong surface, due to budgetary concerns, from what I'm being told. That's why we went with what we did.
Okay.
Put the wrong surface down anyway. That's what I don't get.
So I just want to make sure I understand clearly what's in front of me, and then questions, right? So the Harding quote, repair and recoat, $35,804, that's 3 colors, right? No warranty. And then for Centrix, if we want 3 colors, it's $60,310. For 1 color, it would only be $33,000. Regardless of which of those we might select, it would come with a 10-year manufacturer, limited labor, and, okay. To me, I would almost want to see the details of how limited that warranty is. I don't personally know how my colleagues may feel about the color of the splash pad, but I also, as a taxpayer, kind of feel like I got burned on this once.
Yeah.
Right? So obviously, a warranty is not going to cover if city council at the time, due to budget constraints, chooses the wrong surface. And I wouldn't say that the surface that's there now has failed through a manufacturer issue. It's simply the wrong amount of money was spent to put down a surface. So me personally, I would almost like to put this off to next meeting so I can read through that warranty. That's kind of where my brain is at, just to let you guys know what I'm thinking.
My only thing is that I like the Centrix bid from the type of surface, having spent a good portion of my other careers in the water park business. I understand the importance of having is non-slip. It's kind of an oxymoron, but non-slip surface is possible in a water facility, and it is possible to do. And that's the type of coating that Centrix is referring to. It's a spongier, and so if adult kid or whoever does fall, it's more observant. It's more of an appropriate type of a splash pad surface. And if you've ever been to other communities where they have some space, it almost has that spongy type of feel. So I don't disagree that the warranty should be looked at, but timing also. Our next meeting is not till we go to one meeting a month, and if we're going to get this done potentially before the next season, or we're going to have to live with the surface that we have. I would hate to say we're not going to start it in July. So.
Well, on the other side of that, though, is too, just remember, he said we have yet to confirm with Centrix what time they'll be able to
Correct.
actually
I
complete
think
this,
that
right? So-
should be contingent on this bid, that they have to have it done by Memorial Day, or they don't get the bid, flat out.
Well, many, many times I've seen kids slip and fall and hit their head. I mean, it's not that that's the only reason, but it is a big reason, I think, to have a different type of service.
And as much as I like the multicolor, it's not worth the 60. Yeah.
Safety over color,
Yeah.
safety and savings
Yeah,
over
yeah,
color.
yeah.
I'm the artist, but yeah.
Yeah. Put some colored chairs out there.
Chalk, give them chalk.
The kids have bathing suits and they're color.
That's right,
That's
there's the color.
colorful.
Awful enough, yeah.
The only thing I'll throw out, in addition to what I just said, is we are planning on taking this out of the 5 Points grant, the state funding that the city of Milford received. So I'm just throwing that out there from a budgetary standpoint.
So it is budgeted, so the money is there. It's just, and again, if we can keep to a similar amount, that'll just allow us more money to enhance the park the way we had originally intended it to be from a budget standpoint.
But Chris, you were concerned about limited labor, is that?
I just more wanted to see the details. Some warranty to me is better than no warranty,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But like,
yeah.
I'm
What-
curious,
how good?
how is it limited? How limited is it? What does limited mean? What do they mean by labor? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but I would also, to the mayor's point, right? If we're comfortable as a council awarding this to Centrix, if that's the direction in which we choose to go, contingent upon their ability to have it completed in time for the opening of the splash pad, personally, I would be comfortable moving forward with this for Centrix.
And then
That-
just getting maybe the information later on what the
I mean, again, like,
warranty includes.
yeah, again, some warranty is better than no warranty, and I don't see anything in the warranty being like, oh, that's bad, I should not vote for this, right?
No.
Because
Right.
again, it's a warranty, but
Yeah.
just curiosity therein.
With them.
So, unless anybody else has any questions, and I just want to make sure down there, if you guys have any other questions, I would make a recommendation that the law director draft an ordinance authorizing the city manager to engage with Centrix for the resurfacing of the 5 Points Landing splash pad, contingent on their ability to have the work completed by Memorial Day, in the amount not to exceed $33,840 plus any applicable tax.
If I may, just to clarify, if they cannot get it done by Memorial Day, then this would get kicked to the next meeting, correct?
Or
Or can we put
we're gonna
a
either.
reasonable amount of time or something?
Well, you could,
What's reasonable?
you've identified. Don't want Brady coming over here.
Poor Brady.
He does a great job. He does
a great
I'm
job.
telling you.
Thanks,
much harder
Brady.
to be the dartboard than the dart. I think you have made the good point that you just saying the contingent, and what I'm hearing is if you make the motion and council approves it by a majority, that you can approve the ordinance, but you're saying you don't sign the contract unless they get it done by Memorial Day.
Which then would kick it back to a next council meeting because we would not have a contract to do the splash pad.
There you go.
I guess the concern therein I have in looking at the Harding quote is that quote's only valid for 60 days due to the volatility of raw materials, which means if this does get kicked back, that price may go up.
Right.
Right, and especially, I don't know if they realize we tried to go with someone else first, the price might go up again, right? So,
Well, you can do a temporary, you could put another surface down there over top of that for a 1-year stopgap if we needed to. That's been done. It's not the ideal, it's a grit, to do that. So that may be and again, it doesn't take as much time to redo that. So that is another option that we would potentially have to entertain. Because as the community has said, I made a comment and I got totally chastised for it because I made a comment that maybe we wouldn't be able to open that splash park on time. Worst comment I've probably made. So we will open that splash park on time. It's obviously a great amenity that our community has grown accustomed to. So we don't want to deprive anyone of that.
I just want to make sure we're on the same page, because they come back and say, hey, we'll do it by June 10th.
Right.
Is that something that is an absolute deal breaker? I don't want to complicate it, but I just want to make sure we're on the same page, because if this is the deadline, otherwise we're going to kick it. And if it's a 3-day difference, is it, I don't want to say worth it, but is it worth it? Once again, I don't want to overcomplicate it, but.
I'd say it's a drop, maybe you give them a 7-10 day buffer there, but, you get.
If not, then you're gonna be going to the 19th or next meeting, and then we're looking at the end of the summer. It's
Right.
not gonna happen.
Yeah, it would happen in the fall then. Yeah.
I'd be in favor of a short buffer,
Yeah.
7 days, 10 days.
calendar days or business days?
Calendar.
I mean, that's an
No,
important
it's a fair
distinction to
question,
make,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'd be okay with a 7 calendar day buffer. Give them a week outside of that, because again,
Can we
if
put a
they don't,
penalty in there that they owe us lots of money?
then we're looking at the rest of the summer.
Sure, they just won't sign it.
Yeah.
They'll just pull their bid.
Yeah.
All right, noted. Thank you.
So I believe the motion that or the recommendation I have is that the law director draft an ordinance allowing the city manager to engage with Centrix for the resurfacing of the 5 Points Landing splash pad in the amount not to exceed $33,840, contingent upon Centric's ability to get the work completed within 7 calendar Memorial Day,
Yeah.
with a 7 calendar day buffer allowance after that. I don't know how to word that. That's what we pay lawyers for. So,
Not for running the mics, that's for sure.
no, that's Brady's job.
Second. Second.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on. Provided in council's packet is 2 bids for the well number 4 at the water plant. This is part of the budget on the capital list. We've got 2 quotes, one for $26,771 and one for $33,489. Our recommendation is to go with the cheaper one with Boone. They've done work previously and they have the lowest and best quote there. Once again, this was budgeted. Well number 4 is extremely important for us, as well number 4 has the ability to run our entire water operations by itself. No other well can do that. So this is an extremely important one. Certainly while it's being worked on, we'll have to leverage the other 3 wells, but this is an extremely important well for our operations in order to keep the water utility working efficiently and effectively.
And I'm sorry, we're needing this pump simply because the other one just worked as much as it could for the fine people of Milford and gave up the ghost?
Bingo.
Okay. Were these the only 2 quotes we received? Did we try to obtain more quotes? Just curious.
These are the only 2 that we received. I know that the water department reached out to several people. I don't know how many off the top of my head, but these were the 2 that we received.
I would recommend the law director draft an ordinance allowing the city manager to engage with Boone Water Systems, Inc. for the rehabilitation of well number 4 at the water plant, in the amount not to exceed $26,771.
Second.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to the Happy Hollow lift station lining. Provided in council's packet is 1 bid. I want to provide some narrative to this. Last year, council approved replacing the Happy Hollow lift station. It was about a $110,000 piece of equipment. That was completed late January of this year, I believe. And during the installation process, it was determined that the actual, just envision a pit where the equipment sits in. It's a shell. The shell itself was rusted out, rotted out, and they worry that it will flood the equipment, and that the equipment down there that pumps the sewage out of Happy Hollow, it cannot get wet. The wastewater plant reached out to several people, and we could literally only get 1 person to submit a bid. And we could only get 1 person to submit a bid because it's a dangerous job. So, with that, we have one bid in the packet. This is something that, once again, is extremely important that we need to replace, not only because it's expensive equipment down there, but because if the sewage is not pumped out of the Happy Hollow, the residents over there, then that's obviously a public health concern and is bad for business. So this is extremely important. While this was down, we don't have pumps internally that can even handle this. We had to rent them. It was a lot of money. So this is something that we really, quite frankly, have to do in a very immediate manner.
I have 2 questions. Number 1, does anyone else find it kind of funny that a pump for this type of thing can't get wet? But also, 2, I mean, just to me, it's interesting because it's pumping fluids,
Does
right?
seem odd.
Like,
Fair.
it seems
It's got electrical.
like an important
Yeah.
manufacturing point.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to use this to pump fluids. Let's make it to where it's not waterproof, right?
The pump's submerged, but the motor is.
Sure.
Yeah, the electric is, I guess it's not that it can't get wet, it can't get buried in water. Let me flood it.
All,
Yeah.
And it's
all
not
kidding
water
aside.
that we're talking about either.
Correct. I was keeping it PG for all the kids up past
Yeah.
bedtime, glued to their screens watching our meeting.
Yeah.
I guess the next question that I have is, on the second page of the quote towards the bottom, under the following are specifically excluded under the responsibility of owner or others unless noted otherwise. Excess grout usage beyond initial allowance. I know they can't be 100% sure what is gonna be needed until they get in there and see what the situation is. Well, I guess I just lost my question.
So, if I can answer your question without knowing exactly what it is.
Perfect. Do that in all the meetings, that'd be great.
What's actually being used is a liner, it's a spray liner. It's a very similar surface to actually what would be at the splash pad, without the grit that keeps it, so people can actually play on it. So it's really a spray liner, so in terms of the grout itself, I don't expect a ton of excess grout, if any, because it's a spray.
Can we tie these 2 together, by the way?
Yeah, volume discount?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
One of them can't get wet.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are we here? Okay, so I would recommend the law director draft an ordinance allowing the city manager to engage with Centrix Energy Partners for the Happy Hollow lift station lining in an amount not to exceed $49,785 even.
Second.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on, we've got the Ellis maintenance and blasting for the fire hydrants here in town. We, late last year during budget season, had the discussion about the fire hydrants that are in bad shape. We've got several hydrants beyond the age. It's really the visibility and the usage behind the fire hydrants. We've done a good job of trying to come up with a replacement schedule, and that'll help with some of the aging hydrants. However, we still have several that are hard to see, and obviously when you need to use a fire hydrant, they need to be visible for safety reasons. So provided in council's packet is a quote. I did a little bit of handwriting on it. The original quote was for all hydrants, which is about 430 hydrants in town. What was built into the budget this year was the price to complete 110 hydrants at the price not to exceed $10,000. With this being above my spending limit, of course, I came to council. This is expected to start sometime in like June, July. I'm not sure the exact time frame, but this is to complete, we'll call it a fourth of the hydrants in town.
So you said it'll start in June or July. Once it does start, have they given any indication on how long it would take for them to complete 110 hydrants?
No. Nope.
Probably weather dependent, I
Sure.
imagine, too. Sure.
Sure. I mean, unless anyone has questions about blasting and painting fire hydrants. No.
It's worst job I ever did, so yes.
So what I heard is the mayor has volunteered to do this.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just deals
I've
with
got
it.
lots of retirement jobs, that's
Yeah,
not
see,
one
there
of
you
them.
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
All kidding aside, I would recommend that the law director draft an ordinance allowing the city manager to engage with Ellis Maintenance and Blasting for the fire hydrant maintenance and painting in the amount not to exceed $10,000.
Second.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Thank you. Next on the list is amending the contract with Management Essentials for marketing professional services. Currently, we have a contract with Management Essentials to complete all of our city marketing. We've had tremendous success with that. We're averaging about 1 million impressions a month on social media. We have the largest impressions of any municipality in a 3-state area, and we're on pace to have about 15 million impressions per year. It's been a tremendous success partnering with residents, with businesses, as well as leveraging our internal services and ensuring residents are aware of what we offer as a community. In addition to that, I am making a strong recommendation to council to bring on Management Essentials in a further capacity for organizational development. They, at the true heart of the organization, they do organizational development, and what they would do for us is it would be a good opportunity for them to come in and mentor myself as well as the department heads to ensure that we are operating as efficiently and effectively as possible. They would help with the onboarding and hiring. It's really a good opportunity to allow for all of us upper executive management to be able to discuss complex issues, whether it's day-to-day issues, whether it's employee issues. And I firmly believe that this is a huge step into furthering the momentum that we have as an organization to ensure that we are a high-performing team. So what this would effectively do is we pay about $2,000 a month for marketing. We would then add to this an additional $5,500 to come in and complete these services.
And correct me if I'm wrong, when our interim city manager came in, one of the recommendations he had was to have a true HR person.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And we would effectively cover a lot of those duties. We also have some of the HR duties related to payroll and benefits that's completed internally with one particular person, and that's been a success. But this would cover a lot of those items.
And then where would the budget money, or where would this be budgeted?
Yeah, so we've got additional funding within the salary line items across the board. So that would be a source for that, and then we would take the remaining amount out of the manager line item for professional services. And let me take a step back before there's any questions. What is provided in council's packet is the actual proposal itself, and then I had Management Essentials come up with KPIs for the actual organizational development framework, what success looks like, not only from a marketing standpoint, but also the organizational development. So you'll see several different areas that have a 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month checkpoint to evaluate the ROI on this. I think that this isn't something like sales where we can say, hey, we want to increase sales by 10%. This is a little bit harder, but I think that they did a phenomenal job coming up with specific goals that really give you a good picture as to what the ROI is.
In 3 months, 6 months, 9 months from now, you can determine whether or not we need to continue this or reduce it or add to or whatever, so we're not signing or we would not sign a contract.
Correct. This isn't a lifetime contract. Management Essentials is very flexible with their contract. In the event that we decided to terminate this and say go back to marketing, we have the ability. Although I do not expect that to arise.
This is a really hard thing to say, but I need to say it because I've heard from 5 local marketing professionals that are unsatisfied with the marketing, that it's low on transparency, inaccuracies that stir concern, lacking explanation, inauthentic AI-generated copy that doesn't increase the trust of constituents, vanity metrics that don't benefit residents, lacking a broad overview of serving our community with real language by real people, saying things that happened when they haven't, creating distrust, and I don't want more of that with an expanded contract. Visibility and fun with exciting things, but suppressing information, such as posting agendas on the day before, an AI voice that is arrogant and led to some fiascos. I've heard this from 5 different marketing people. And it troubles me that people have those feelings about that, and
That's fair. I mean, that's fair, but I also think the positivity we have gotten from not just marketing people, but from the community itself. I've been, go lots of other communities, and we are truly the envy of these other
if
communities.
you're talking about quantity.
Yeah, we're talking about.
But what about trust and
I have a
two-way
lot of trust.
communications?
Personally,
Okay.
I have a lot
Well,
of trust, personally.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm hearing an awful lot.
And I'm sure you do. I'm sure, I don't dispute that. I don't hear that. And again, I don't know if any of my you're the first person who has come, no one's written me, no one said anything.
I've been hearing it a lot, and I finally said, we'll get specific.
I've heard similar things to what Kathy has heard.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily have the same issues with the trust side of it, right? Because I think I know the intent there is good, and I also know that very few things are 100% successful in the way you want them to be right off the bat. We haven't really been engaged too terribly long with this marketing firm, right? So there's a little bit of growing pains and things there as well. For this particular proposal, personally, I really need more time to kind of digest what's here and kind of noodle over this. Prior to me really being comfortable with us hopping into this additional investment and starting. Like I would almost want to propose that we discuss this again at our next meeting to give more time for if there are additional questions that need to be answered, but specifically, personally to me, to kind of go back over the proposal again. And I'm just not 100% comfortable as is. I don't know what specific questions I currently have, but I want some more time with the agreement prior to voting on it myself.
And it's a big enough contract. Is it something that could be bid?
It's professional, well, you did whatever you want, but it's
Professional
professional services,
services.
so it wouldn't have to be,
The other thing, the thing that does make me very comfortable about this, though, is the termination for convenience clause. We can back out at any time
Anytime.
for any or no reason at all with no penalty, right? The only thing we would have to pay
A
is for any
trial,
services that
yeah.
have been rendered up until that point. That's a great clause to have in any contract. I think that also speaks very highly of the marketing firm and their professionalism and their faith in the product that they're presenting to us, right? That kind of puts me a little bit at ease, but still, I need more time with what's in front of me. I know we've had this for a little bit, but I'm just not there yet.
Kathy, just a question for you.
Yeah.
When you say you've heard from some other marketing people, are you just basically hearing from marketing people critiquing another marketing company?
These are local residents that are
That-
marketing professionals.
Okay, but is it just somebody critiquing another company, or is it just?
No, it's the voice and whether it's trusting and
Okay.
the kind of information.
I just say that because it's obviously
No,
real
no.
easy for somebody to do
It
that.
is, and no, these are, no.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Do you think those folks would have had the same concerns if they did not do marketing for a living? Would they have had similar concerns as residents of Milford? Maybe?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It just, they were saying it, and I said, well, okay, be explicit then.
Sure. I can respect that.
Would anyone else?
Christopher, I'm okay with tabling it to another meeting.
I would make a motion that we table this until the next regular council meeting.
Second.
Jackie, can we have the roll?
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Because it's, the majority, I believe, want this, I'll vote yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
And this is for tabling, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Amending ordinance 26-440, which is a schedule of fees, fines, and charges for services, licenses, and permits. We made a slight error on the fee schedule that was passed earlier this year, as specifically related to the cemetery. Instead of $1,500 for the columbarium, we accidentally put 10. So we need to change that, as well as establishing a fee for the double columbarium that we have at the cemetery. So you'll see on the very last page, which is specifically for the cemetery, the single we kept at what was, what it has been. The double, we haven't had a price. We looked around at the townships, and they're everywhere from about $1,600 to another surrounding township's going to go up to about $6,000 for a double columbarium. I'm not recommending $6,000. We're recommending $2,400, which is simply doubling that of the single columbarium. Other than that, there's no changes.
I would recommend the law director draft an ordinance, amending ordinance 26-440, schedule of fees, fines, and charges for services, licenses, and permits to match the attached chart.
Second.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Is this online somewhere? This was a good piece of work to put it all together.
I am pretty confident it's online.
Okay.
Be in the website. Alrighty, moving on. The remaining items are simply discussions. The first discussion I wanted to have was the fleet replacement program. This is something that, well, since I've been here, certainly we've discussed several times, specifically during budget season. It's the idea of whether or not it makes more sense to pay cash for vehicles or to lease vehicles. With that, we did meet with Enterprise Enterprise Fleet Management to get a proposal from them. What I did is I provided an executive summary of what that proposal looks like. I'm simply providing this to council as a discussion, as an information-based thing. My recommendation is that we continue to establish more accurate fleet replacement schedules and pay cash for them. The police department's done a good job of that. I don't believe we have an up-to-date one for the remaining departments, but you'll see that for the first couple years, it makes sense, and then from there, it really starts going downhill. It really makes sense the first year because we're going to be selling 17 vehicles. That's about half our fleet. So with those 17 vehicles, they're replacing ones that have very low mileage, which naturally you receive a higher amount for. From there, they go down 1, 1, 4, 9 for a total of 32 vehicles within the fleet. With the leasing, you're certainly removing the upfront cost. However, you're also paying a 6% essentially interest on the lease. They also have a maintenance program. It's about $52. I think it's $51.50 a month. And that's supposed to cover more of the ongoing oil changes, some of the smaller maintenance items. However, there's some, based off of reaching out to other municipalities, there's been some issues with that because they essentially have pre-negotiated these agreements with some of these repair shops, and part of that is there's a kickback to it. And some of the local body shops also can't honor the prices that Enterprise has negotiated with other people, so we're essentially paying more than what we're paying the maintenance plus then the cost because they simply can't honor it. So I wanted to be able to provide this to council. I'm not requesting a decision or an answer on this. I just wanted to be able to provide this to council, and this, I assume, will come up to some extent during budget season. And
But if we had to put you on the spot.
Which you know the mayor hates to put you on the spot.
At this point, do you think that this is, a lease is beneficial to the city?
No. My strong recommendation is simply updating our replacement schedule and paying cash for them. If you look at that list, it's on page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe. You'll see we've got very low mileage vehicles that are going to be replaced. Now you can throw off the Ford Mustang. That's we got that in a drug bust, so that's a community one. Chief got excited back there. He thought he was getting another Mustang, but a lot of these vehicles they're averaging very low mileage per year. They're typically secondary vehicles, so to replace something that's driven, 1,000 miles a year, we're just not really having the cost like we are with, say, a cruiser that is driven, several thousands plus the hours that they're putting on. So I don't really think it makes as much sense for the public works. And then with the police, it makes a lot of sense, and other departments have done it with the police, but we have gotten a good retention schedule or replacement schedule. They also can't guarantee the vehicles, and they often recommend replacements that are, say, different brands. I know Dodges have been sort of the push here recently, and there's some questions on the sustainability of those vehicles. So there's a few errors within this model. Once again, it does reduce the cash up front, but I just ultimately think you're paying 6% more for effectively the same thing. And I don't think we need to replace every single vehicle every essentially 5 years.
I thought your analysis was very well written, and I agree that we should pay cash and not lease.
Yeah, I've been asking for a while on a couple different things for like an X versus Y. This is exactly what I had in mind, so this was very well done. In the future, when we have more X versus Y, I would strongly encourage, at least from my own viewpoint, for you to come to council with something like this.
Yeah,
well done. Well done.
This might be a naive question, but since we have a lot that they are older with not a lot of mileage, do we need this many?
It's not that they're not in use, it's just not the main vehicle. Obviously, we have multiple people within the department, so if they're getting dragged to different locations, they don't all move in unison. So that's why there is a need for that. But I can assure you that the departments don't have just an influx of vehicles sitting there. Certainly not in good condition.
Well, yeah.
Some that might not be working.
2004, yeah.
Yeah. All right. The last thing I wanted to discuss is,
There isn't.
I don't believe I put it in the packet. My apologies. Is the lime lagoon removal. I'll touch on this very high level. This isn't a decision that needs to be made. During budget season, you may or may not have recalled, we talked about the lime lagoon at the water plant and the expense that we would have to incur to clean that out. In 2019, it was about $80,000. Now we've received several quotes that span from $250,000 all the way to $400,000. That's not sustainable for us. We just simply can't afford that. That takes a large portion out of the water department budget. So what we did is, and I'll make sure council has gotten this. I think I may or may not have sent this already, but we did another analysis for that of doing it internally. We would rent the equipment, so we would rent the excavator as well as the dump trucks, and then we would have staff complete the disposal of it to a farmer that would be able to apply the lime to the farm fields. Looking at the analysis, if we used one dump truck with the rental cost, we would save around $130,000. If we used two dump trucks, it's about $120,000. That would take about 4 months, and we would have probably 3 to 4 employees that would be required to complete this. So, yes, it saves us a lot of money, but two, it's hard. We don't have the manpower to every single year have 4 people out or 3 to 4 people out for 4 months. What we decided to do is this year reevaluate how we are going to address this long term, but we do believe that doing this internally the first year is in our best interest. We want to push this off until probably August, September. That way we're getting out of the real fast-paced, busy months as it relates to the service department and the water department, and that would sort of free up some time that way. We've already reached out to an attorney to give us different options related to addressing the lime. Several different communities do it different ways. So that's something that we're going to look at long term, but it really is important to save 130 some or 120 some thousand, especially in the water department at this point. We obviously had to increase the rates because it's not a sustainable fund at this point. So this is extremely important to free up some money to address some of the other issues we have at the plant. No, that's a lot, but I just wanted to be able to brief council on that, as that is a huge budgetary decision.
You said that decision's not until later on in the summer?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other, for you,
If you're gonna do workshops, will you do the workshops section? Right here.
no.
Okay. The only other thing before I turn it over to Ms. Russell is during the budget session, and really quite a bit of last year, we talked about that of the committee of the whole. Certainly that lengthens meetings, but doing the committees, those are typically scheduled during the day. There's only 3 people on council that are on the committee itself, and going to committee of the whole was a way that we could discuss the business in a meeting and have everyone at the table sort of at once. Through those discussions, we talked about having, at a very low level, workshops before council, so that way we could go through the agenda, have those discussions, and it would be further conversation. It would still be a public meeting, but it would just be a way that we could discuss it further. Whatever items, it doesn't have to be necessarily on the agenda, but if it's something that's a pressing topic, then we could add it to that workshop agenda and discuss it then. This is something that I did up north. We had a workshop before every council meeting, so an hour before, and then we'd roll into council. We've got, starting next month, May, June, July, August, we have 1 meeting per month, and with us only having 1 meeting per month, that tends to stack the agenda. So this could be a way that either we do a workshop before council, or on the weeks we don't have council, we could do a workshop, or we could do a special meeting or a special day and complete a workshop. But the point is, this would be a way to further communicate and discuss some of the agenda items. So this is simply, is council interested? If not, then we can continue down the path of having one meeting per month, and we just go to council if it is something.
And if council is not opposed, we could try this for a month or two, you know.
I mean, to me, this is almost like we still have our committees, but they don't meet because we do committee of the whole. But now we're going to have another meeting to prepare for the committee of the whole. So why not just go back to committees at that point?
I think
We would eliminate the committee as a whole during council.
Is that what we would do? We would have workshops and then completely eliminate the committee of the whole? Is that the intent there?
We would not need the committee. You would have the committee as a whole, but just move it into.
Its own meeting?
Yeah.
I would, well, hold on a second. So I would be hesitant, first of all, to put it an hour before regular council meetings, because already there are some community members that I've heard from where even a 7 p.m. meeting is difficult for some members of the community to make. If you push that an hour forward on a regular basis, you're just cutting more people out of the ability to be in an open meeting where these things are actually discussed. I got a little ahead of my breathing, sorry. Happens sometimes. So I don't mind the committee of the whole. It does make for way longer meetings, which fine, you know, we signed up for whatever amount of time it takes us to represent our community. That's why we're here. Fine. I don't agree with an hour ahead of time doing this. I'd rather do it during the actual meeting to where more people can potentially make it. And unless we're going to actually broadcast on CRC that workshop from 6 to 7, you're cutting out the folks that watch from home, right? And I know they're not here actively participating, but they are paying attention. We do hear from them after these meetings, right? So that would kind of cut some folks out of their ability to even see what's going on. Again, to me, you're just shifting things around to where, again, if you need to have a workshop prior to the committee of the whole meeting, just let the committees that exist per the charter meet and then come to a council meeting.
I would not, I would love to go back to the committee personally. I think that was so much more effective. I think that was so much more, the ability to have additional open dialogue. I would wholeheartedly go back to the committee.
I think the only concern that did come up, though, when we did go to the committee of the whole, right, is if you do have a committee of 3 council members out of a 7-member body, those 3 members have pretty much absolute control over what issues that go through that committee then make it to full council. And I do like that about committee of the whole because it's more democratic.
You always had that ability, though, Christopher. You always had that ability, even as with a committee. You could have opened the committee as a whole, which we'd done from time to time. So I'm not opposed to still having that ability to do that. I just think from an effective standpoint, if we go back to the committee standpoint, I would be in favor of that altogether, because I think that is a very effective way to have more detailed a conversation. The 3, they make the recommendation. Everyone on council still gets all the information. And if you wanted to then have a committee as a whole, as a line item, I would not be opposed to that either. But I'm just saying, as a way to streamline and to get more information out there is, you know, we're not getting less information. We're actually would be getting more information out.
Well, but I mean, if you are holding it an hour before the regular council meeting and it's not broadcast on TV, like there are days personally as a council member, I would struggle very much to make it here by 6 because I work downtown.
Sure.
And if there is a single wreck on any of the 3 ways that I take to get here, I may not be here in time for the start of that committee meeting, right? So, and the regular committees that we used to have kind of picked their own time and schedule, right? So some of them were held during the day. The ones that I was on were never held during the day because I have a 9 to 5 job, well, an 8 to 6 job. But, so I like the idea of trying to get more conversation going. I don't know that moving it from where it's at now to an hour ahead of time or a different meeting night necessarily makes the most sense if we can't provide the same level of access we already have to where people are hearing this now. And I do realize too that when we were doing committees back in the day, for lack of a better way of phrasing that, those committee meetings were not televised, right?
No.
But there was public notice out there, there were public meetings and things like that. They were then recapped at every city council meeting. There's gonna be no perfect way to get all the information that we have and are trying to get out to the community. There's gonna be no perfect time where everybody in the community can attend or pay attention. If we're gonna do all this outside of a regular city council meeting, I would much rather go back to committees the way they existed prior to us doing things this way. And I will hop off of my soapbox.
As a new kid on the block, but the elderly statesman, can you clarify more for me what the intent is of the city council workshops?
Yeah, so what I've done previously, and this is just throwing it out there, I'm not making a recommendation. I do think it's a lot easier for me to do my job when I've got everyone here to discuss things.
I agree.
That's my personal opinion. How we do that is, that's up to council. What I've done in the past is, we've had that workshop before council. Like I said, it was at 6 or 6:30, whatever it was. It was an hour before council. And we would either discuss all the agenda items, or if there was something specifically that we wanted to discuss, if it's, we want to talk about the splash pad that, or whatever, the improvements to 5 points, that's our opportunity to discuss that collectively. So that's the intent.
I think it's a great idea. And I'd be in favor of it. Now, as far as having it prior to our regular meeting or having it even at another time, I'd be open to both.
How about we, collectively, we'll come up and then, we'll have a regular May meeting and we'll decide if we want to try it for June, July. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll, you know.
Well, is it replacing committee of the whole?
No, we would still have the committee. To Christopher's point, we can still have committee as a whole. It was just as another opportunity to
work through things?
To work through in, open forum.
Right, but more informal? Is that what we're saying?
I don't know if it's more informal, but it's just more time that we have to be able to ask questions and, so.
I mean, but to that point, during this meeting right now, we have all the time we want. It is a marathon meeting,
No.
but if the intent is just to provide more opportunity to ask questions and discuss, we have all the time we want right now, right? So, again, I understand the intent behind it and giving people more time to talk about things and maybe kind of moving. It's kind of like daylight savings time, right? You're either doing it during the meeting, you're doing it before the meeting. You can't cut the top of a blanket off and have more at the bottom, right? So the time happens when the time happens. All you're doing is pushing it a little further forward. It's not going to be broadcast and there won't be as many people here. So that part of it, I'm not a fan of. I understand the intent and the intent is good. I would like to talk about it more and think about it more. To your point, Ralph, at the next meeting, let's talk about it more and decide whether or not we want to give it a go. Right now, it's going to be a hard sell for me because I think that's actually, as well-intended as it is, putting it before a regular council meeting would decrease transparency.
And that's by no way, in shape or form, anything that we are attempting.
Correct, yeah, understood, yeah.
All right, that's all I have. Like I said, I just wanted to throw it out there.
All right.
That's a council decision. I don't care one way or another. I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And any other matters which may be for anyone else? Yeah.
Mine is the fun stuff.
Okay, Parks and Rec.
Just real brief. I mean, Parks and Rec Committee that I am on now as a council person. We send all our minutes and things to Jackie and Benjamin. So there were just a couple of things that I found very interesting. We had a visitor, Tim McManus, and I think a lot of people probably know Tim. He was in the RRT.
Yes, he
place.
owned Nature Outfitters.
Nature
He was the
Outfitters.
original.
So he came to our meeting. It was nice to have a visitor, and we're having our meetings. We've got a number of parks, as you all well know. So each month we've decided to have our meeting in the park, a different park, and of course, everybody's invited, all the residents. Tim brought to our attention, that, the one comment he had was that he felt like the trail sign, I think he might have been involved in that trail sign up at Trailhead. And so he said he noticed that it was looking a little tired. So we might do something with that. He told me to maybe suggest, or just say it's looking a little tired. And as far as that, what else we're going to be doing, I think Benjamin had been given a list of all the parks and some things that might have need to be maybe looked at or touched up or whatever. I think this was when they first formed the Parks and Rec Committee. And so I guess we are updating that. So, and we're going to give that information to Benjamin when that is all finished. So that's our next meeting. All of us are going around to all the parks. Other than that, that's it.
And the other thing with that, Janet is a member of Parks and Rec, and I think it would be prudent that you stay on Parks and Rec.
I plan to, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so,
I will.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
Yeah, I've called her a lot of times.
Yeah, absolutely. A valued member.
Yes.
All right, that takes us to public comments. Would anyone from the public like to come up and please approach the podium, say your name and where you live?
Yeah, we don't need.
Talk really loud.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we got some Jeopardy music playing. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Batteries are
Oh,
important.
there we go.
Saving the day as per usual.
Jackie.
Hey!
There,
Yeah.
she's the boss.
Hello.
Truly is the,
Again,
truly
hi.
is the boss.
Hi.
Kirk Reed, 543 Belt. So last time I was here, I introduced the Slow Rollers Golf Cart Club. I'm here to announce our first event. It is going to be May 17th at Little Miami Brewery, a Carts and Coffee. I believe it's the first one ever.
Carts and
Right here in Milford. We're going to have remote control drift cars for all ages. My 4-year-old drives one, so that gives you an idea. And we're going to be doing a fishing contest. I'm putting the rules together, so please visit our Facebook page for information on that. Man, my eyes are watering like crazy.
And what are the times
From 9 to 11
in the morning?
in the morning.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, is it
And what is your
Manx?
Facebook
Oh,
page?
sorry.
Slow Rollers. Manx will be
Manx
there.
Coffee Truck,
Yep.
yeah.
Secondly, I'm so glad the parks people are here. I think I'm a parks professional now with my 4-year-old. I visit them all, and I think they're all great. Everything's going great. Do we need to make some improvements? I think we do. And with all the park talk, the Terrell Park got hammered this year by the floods, and our wonderful city people took a piece of machinery back there, I believe yesterday, and cleared a bunch of trails that were destroyed. So it looks like we probably lost 200 yards of river access due to all of the driftwood. So that park is 26 acres, and it is a prime location for Milford to lean into the bike history. We apparently have the oldest bike shop in the country with Bishops, but there's not a jump within 3 miles of this place. So you ask yourself, why are the kids congregating in all these areas? And that's because the place where they're supposed to ride their bikes sucks. So with a little bit of money, not even a lot, not really no money at all. We just need a Bobcat and somebody with a little bit of vision, and we can make that part of our parks an attraction versus, in my opinion, a big eyesore, because it's been, we need to have a bonfire or something down there because the trash is.
I think there's someone in the back room who's probably cringing that you just said that.
Good.
Yeah.
Hey, have a fire. Do a training session.
Fire
Get the fire department
Yikes.
down there. Let's have a party.
Yeah,
I
think we
remember
have to
going
find
to
a better
the,
way to get rid of it.
yeah,
but
to the Milford High School bonfires back in the 80s, where they would have a stack of,
Kids are all shit.
you know, ply or, you
Oh, I
know,
remember.
skids.
Yeah.
So, so that's my 2 cents on Terrell Park. But everything else on the park wise, I'm in a park every day. So I want to thank you guys for all of your hard work and listening to me when I see you out in the wild, I'll call it. And Sandy, I'd love to come to your meetings, and I hope to see everybody at Slow Rollers. And if you don't have a way to get your golf cart down here, maybe we can find a way to get it down here on a trailer or something. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Kim Chamberlain, 528 Lila Avenue. On behalf of Milford's Tree Commission, I would like to invite the entire community to join us as we celebrate Arbor Day and our history. The Tree Commission and the Greater Milford Area Historical Society will be hosting this celebration on Friday, May 1st at 4 o'clock at Carriageway Park. Carriageway Park is located at the end of Lila Avenue and Riverside Drive, right in the middle. It is home to the Historical International Order of the Oddfellows Cemetery, as well as a playground, some hiking trails, and basketball. We will be dedicating our 2026 Heritage Tree, which we received as a donation in honor of America 250. We will be having a tree scavenger hunt for children and giving away 50 tree seedlings to children first, then anybody that's present. We are partnering with Pattison Elementary and inviting children to write letters to be put in a time capsule to be opened at America's 300th celebration. If anyone from the public is interested in including a letter, you know, talking about what you do in your typical 2026 day, feel free to drop that off and we'll include that into the time capsule. The Historical Society has graciously allowed us to use the time capsule that was retrieved from the Milford, Maine building. So I think that's pretty cool. There was one at Milford, Maine. They retrieved that before Maine was torn down, and now we get to use it and then to be opened for our 300th celebration. The Historical Society will have activities and interesting objects as well as facts about this quirky city park. And who knows, you might even learn what an Oddfellow is and what they do and who is buried in this cemetery. I hope you see you there.
Kim, I have one question. You mentioned that folks can drop off letters if they want to be included. Where should they drop those off at?
With our hospitality, with Livy Rose.
Great.
Thanks.
And I'll let her know.
Now, Kim, I meant to ask you, so in 50 years, will Benjamin have the key for the time capsule? Yeah, does he get the key?
That was a huge question. Like,
Yeah.
who is the keeper of the time capsule?
Yeah.
And our incredible Jackie came up with an idea that it'll be housed here at City Hall in our fireproof records area, and so it'll be kept.
So to answer your question, yes,
Yeah,
Benjamin.
Benjamin.
You were gonna say it.
Yeah, I know it. That was a good call.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Jeff LePans. I'm 54 Mound Avenue. I have some thoughts after going to the State of the City presentation and then watching last, I guess, April 7th council meeting. First off, I'm probably, of the general population, one of the most pro-development people you're going to meet in Milford. That said, there was a line in that State of the City presentation that really grabbed my attention. The ambition of a city on the rise. It sort of seems out of touch with a lot of people in residence. Not everybody has ambition like that. I mean, we've all had bosses that they think your ambition should match theirs. I don't think that that's necessarily true. Many people are happy where they are, so please keep that in mind. By far, most residents in the neighborhood live in neighborhoods like Clartoma, Indian Knolls, or were longtime residents in Old Milford or South Milford, long before the house values skyrocketed. I mean, I certainly didn't pay current market price for my house. So the people that have the $750,000 houses, they're the minority in this town. And, you know, it's all very well and good and I'm for that development, but keep in mind that most of the voters come from a much more modest background. So first, before you would start any of that fancy development, as some people would call it, get the infrastructure fixed. I noticed that the water main was mentioned. Fix the water main once and for all. Don't fix it 26 times a year, every 2 weeks. You know, Mill, Cleveland, and Laurel, the drainage there has been terrible. People have been complaining about that since the day I bought my house in 2007. I'm sure Old Milford, I'm sure Clartoma, I'm sure Indian Knolls, they all have issues like that. Fix those issues, please, before we build anything else. Then the next thing is the development in town. How about dealing with 5 Points to Milford Parkway? There's derelict buildings, there's derelict parking lots, there's all kind of stuff there, and people come into town off the highway and they see that. You think they're going to be impressed by downtown? No. Fix that. Get that developed. Take care of that. Make it look, I mean, the old Baker stuff, the one building looks nice, which just made the other ones look worse. And then we're supposed to be a walkable downtown. Fix the crosswalks. They're death traps. I've seen people, drivers, go absolutely nuts just in the last couple of weeks because somebody stopped for somebody in a crosswalk. You know, they're flipping them the bird, honking the horn. Fix those crosswalks. There needs to be a light at Locust. Somebody's going to get killed at one of those 3 crosswalks, Elm, Locust, and Sycamore. Fix those. All that's far more important than putting a fancy sided building up, okay? So Locust needs a crosswalk button. Otherwise, you got to play Frogger. That light does not change until somebody comes down Locust Street. Sometimes I turn down there from High Street just to let the poor people cross the road because I know as soon as I come down the hill, that light will change. The other day I walked from the time I saw that light coming down from Wallace, from the time I could see that light till the time I couldn't see it when I went up off Main Street, it never changed. It's not gonna ever, people have stood there and stood there and stood there, and it does not change until the car comes. Fix that. You know, enforcing those laws, enforcing the pedestrian stuff, all that stuff you want to pay for, you could pay for it just by finding the people, the drivers driving through that part of town. But ignore the people in the crosswalk and are speeding. I saw a truck coming down the other day. It was going so fast that even though the light was red at Locust, there's no way it could stop. Thank God nobody was there because it didn't stop. So anyway, we should be as strict, if not stricter, than Terrace Park. Nobody speeds through Terrace Park hardly, but we're a much more walkable downtown. So, and then when it comes to traffic safety, clarify the 5 points. If you're coming into town from down Lila, coming into town, I always look at the car on the right side of me to see if they have local plates, because if they don't have local plates, guess what? They're coming my way. Fix that signage, fix the painting on the ground, fix the signage so people know where they're supposed to be and where they're supposed to go. I mean, that's probably not going to be a death, but it's going to be a wreck that screws up that intersection, and then traffic's backed up down to where we'll have deaths downtown. Let's see. And, you know, as far as the actual development goes, the other thing is, I don't know what's going on with Milford South. It was a derelict, ugly building, so I was glad when they were going to develop it. Now it's a more derelict, more ugly building. Why wasn't the developer forced to fix that first before they did all this fancy stuff and make money? I know there's a lawsuit and stuff now going on, but that developer should be out of business by now. They should be sued into oblivion, no matter how much it costs. I'll pay that before I pay for more water. You know, and then all those issues are more development, I'm sure any one of those issues is more popular than the new development plans that they posted at the city meeting. Last, and since you guys went there first, on these impressions on social media, what do those do for the residents? What do they do for the businesses? What do they do that the businesses here that have big social media presences already do? Harvest Market has a huge social media presence. For instance, RRT, Book Matters. What's the city's, what's that doing for the residents and what's it doing for the business? Impressions on social media don't mean much. I'm a photographer, and we all joke, yeah, we like our likes, but that doesn't mean anything. I can get 1 million likes. Doesn't sell me any pictures or anything. So, I mean, if I was in charge of social media for Milford, I would concentrate on what is Milford, what is the city, and where the city has agency. What is Milford, the postcode, where we have no agency, 45150. What is Milford Exempted Village School District? That's a different location altogether. And then there's Miami Township, the guy that got up and spoke at the meeting on the 7th. He's going on and on about the park, the party in the park. He's not a Milford resident. I don't mind him speaking, but make that clear to people that this is a non-Milford resident coming to speak. So, I mean, half your problems as far as people being upset with the city are people that don't know the difference. They conflate all those different things and think that you guys control the schools, you guys control the post office somehow, you guys control half of what's Miami Township. Fix that in your social media. That's what I would do, because I don't see whatever. I'm sorry I'm ranting, and you're probably all glad this meeting's over.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, good points.
Any other public comments?
Can I say one more thing real fast?
Nope. I'm kidding.
Kidding.
You got 1 minute. You've exceeded your
I'm an
time.
ex-pump expert, and I'd be happy to talk to you guys about pumps, because that's not an area you want to mess around with on going cheap or doing a little patch job on a trash pump. I know that pit 4 you're talking about, because I walked down there the other day and I saw the rental, and so I know that it's a trash pump down in that pit. And so, and for your question, it's running on probably 350 volts, and so it's not all waterproof on the motor.
Sure.
So high electricity. So I'm
Thank you.
happy to
Thank
give
you.
input.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to make a comment. This is the second time I've heard about this issues of the crosswalks at Locust. Is there a plan to
Yes.
resolve the issue?
Yeah, we will get bids. We will do that. That is going to be a comment that is not lost on me or anyone else. So I think Benjamin and his staff, hopefully by either next meeting or whatever, that we'll have our engineer look at. We've actually looked at over the years, and Janet, Sandy, and even probably Christopher, we've talked, for whatever reason, they've never come to fruition, but I think it's high time that we certainly,
Especially from a safety standpoint,
Yes.
it's definitely high time.
yeah. So I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
Any other, or can we have a motion to adjourn? Well, if you're going to make a public comment, you have to come to the podium. State your name, please.
Steve Myers, Walnut Avenue. Janet, congratulations. And thank you all for the opportunity to interview.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
I would make a motion to adjourn committee of the whole and return to the regular council meeting. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That takes us to new business and the Brian Pacheco Show.
Ordinance number 26, thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 26-454, an ordinance amending appropriation ordinances 2025-415, 26-423, and 26-439. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the Municipality of Milford, Ohio, Section 1. The Council of the City of Milford hereby authorizes the City Finance Director to amend appropriation ordinances 2025-415, 26-423, and 26-439 by increasing or decreasing the individual items as set forth and listed on the chart attached hereto and fully incorporated herein as provided in Section 12.03 of the Milford City Charter. Said amendments total $3,304,265. Section 2, under and in accordance with Sections 11.05 and 12.05 of the Milford City Charter, this ordinance requires only one reading and shall be effective immediately upon its passage by City Council.
Motion to adopt. Second.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ordinance number 26-455, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to engage with Centrix for the resurfacing of 5 Points Landing splash pad. Whereas the city identified a need to replace the surface of the splash pad at 5 Points Landing Park, and whereas the city of Milford requested bids from multiple companies and Centrix provided the best and most responsive bid under Section 11.09 of the Charter, now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the Municipality of Milford, Ohio, Section 1. City manager is hereby authorized to engage with Centrix for the replacement of the splash pad surface at a price not to exceed $33,840 because Centrix bid is, in council's judgment, the best and most responsive proposal considering quality, service, price, reputation, past performance, financial condition, and any other pertinent information under Section 11.09 of the Charter, contingent upon completing the work by Memorial Day with a 7-day contingency. This quote is attached and fully incorporated by reference under and in accordance with Section 12.03 of the Milford City Charter, Section 2. Under and in accordance with Sections 12.05 and 12.07 of the Milford City Charter, this ordinance shall be effective immediately upon its passage by City Council.
Motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
Second.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ordinance number 26-455, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to engage with Centrix for the resurfacing of 5 Points Landing splash pad.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ordinance number 26 that was the other bid that we didn't do. Ordinance number 26-456, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to engage Boone Water Systems, Inc. for the rehabilitation of well number 4 at the water plant. Whereas city staff determined that well number 4 at the water plant needs rehabilitation due to age and deterioration of equipment, and whereas well 4 is the largest well in the system and can run the entire system without support from the other wells in the system, and whereas city staff received multiple bids for the work and Boone came back with the best and most responsive bid under Section 11.9 of the Charter, now therefore be it ordained 0.09 of the Charter. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the Municipality of Milford, Ohio, Section 1. The Council of the City of Milford authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Boone Water Systems, Inc. for the well number 4 rehabilitation project at a price not to exceed $26,771 because Boone's bid is, in council's judgment, the best and most responsive proposal considering quality, service, price, reputation, past performance, financial condition, and any other pertinent information under Section 11.09 of the Charter. The quote is attached and fully incorporated by reference under and in accordance with Section 12.03 of the Milford City Charter, Section 2. Under and in accordance with Sections 12.05 and 12.07 of the Milford City Charter, this ordinance shall become effective immediately upon its passage by City Council.
Motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
Second.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ordinance number 26-456, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to engage Boone Water Systems for the rehabilitation of well number 4 at the water plant.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ordinance number 26-457, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to engage Centrix Energy Partners to provide emergency repairs for the Happy Hollow lift station lining. Whereas city staff determined that it must line Happy Hollow life station due to deteriorated structure holding the newly installed lift station equipment on an emergency basis. Whereas the city previously replaced the Happy Hollow lift station in 2025 for $110,000, whereas the city staff requested several quotes for the emergency repairs of the lift station and only received one quote back due to the lack of interest and danger of the job. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the Municipality of Milford, Ohio, Section 1. The Council of the City of Milford hereby authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Centrix Energy Partners to conduct emergency repairs to the Happy Hollow lift station lining at a price not to exceed $49,000 $785. Section 2, in accordance with Section 11.09 of the Milford City Charter, this project is exempt from the competitive bidding process because of the real and present emergency necessitated by the lining repair due to existing safety concerns and the requirement to meet safety standards within the city of Milford. The quote is attached and fully incorporated by reference under and in accordance with Section 12.03, of the Milford City Charter. Section 3, under and in accordance with Sections 12.05 and 12.07 of the Milford City Charter, this ordinance shall become effective immediately upon its passage by City Council.
Motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
Second.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ordinance number 26-457, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to engage Centrix Energy Partners to provide emergency repairs to the Happy Hollow lift station lining.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Ordinance number 26-458, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to engage Ellis Maintenance and Blasting for fire hydrant maintenance, repairs, and painting. Whereas city staff determined that the city needs to rehabilitate and to paint roughly 400 hydrants throughout the city of Milford, and whereas city staff identified 110 hydrants located on the main city quarters to tackle under phase 1 of this project schedule. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the Municipality of Milford, Ohio, Section 1, the Council of the City of Milford authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Ellis Maintenance and Blasting for the maintenance and painting of city-owned fire hydrants at a price not to exceed $10,000. Section 2, under and in accordance with Sections 12.05 and 12.07 of the Milford City Charter, this ordinance will become effective immediately upon its passage by City Council. The quote is attached and fully incorporated by reference under and in accordance with Section 12.03 of the Milford City Charter.
Motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
Second.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ordinance number 26-458, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to engage Ellis Maintenance and Blasting for fire hydrant maintenance and painting.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ordinance number 26-460, an ordinance amending ordinance 26-440, schedule of fees, fines, and charges for services, licenses, and permits. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the Municipality of Milford, Ohio, Section 1. The Council of the City of Milford hereby authorizes the city manager to amend ordinance 26-440 by adding the duplicate deed and double columbarium fees and amending the columbarium fee on the schedule of fees, fines, and charges for services, license, and permits for the City of Milford is set forth on the attachment hereto, which attachment is fully incorporated herein as if fully rewritten herein pursuant to and in accordance with Section 12.03 of the Milford City Charter. Section 2, under and in accordance with Sections 12.05 and 12.07 of the Milford City Charter, this ordinance shall become effective immediately upon its passage by City Council.
Motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
Second.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ordinance number 26-460, an ordinance amending ordinance 26-440, schedule of fees, fines, and charges for services, licenses, and permits.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Barney?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mayor, just if I may, for 60 seconds, I want to first of all congratulate all of the National Honor students out there. Congratulations, and keep aspiring to be successful. And again, congratulations to all of what you've done. For the candidates that applied, thank you for your interest and thank you for applying. That's none of my business. I don't have a role in that, but I just know that you guys, as you see at some points tonight, you apply to be a dartboard instead of the dart, and it makes a big difference when you are the dartboard and not the dart, and we appreciate your willingness to do so. And Ms. Cooper, congratulations. It's nice to see you again and nice to work with you again. And Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. That takes us to our last public comment section. Seeing none, old business? How about a motion?
I would make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Amen. Not quite the longest meeting ever, but it was close.